Whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, Andrew at Class Eagle. We're going to talk about the different types of CPR certifications. You might think that CPR is CPR, but it's not quite. There are some nuances to it, and so we're going to discuss that along with all the different kind of certification agencies that are out there. So, by and large, the main certification agency is going to be the American Heart Association. They do a lot of research, pull a lot of data, and they go and create guidelines based on the data that they have researched. And then they put forth those guidelines. Curriculum is then made, and then other providers like the Red Cross or ECSI or other people will then begin to create curriculums based on the American Heart Association's suggested and recommended guidelines for CPR. Now, that being said, there are different types of CPR based on the person who needs it. So you have healthcare provider CPR, generally known as BLS, basic life support, and that's going to be for people primarily who are in the healthcare field, a nurse, doctor, or even a medical student who's going into a nursing program or something of that nature. So anybody that has anything to do related with healthcare, you're probably going to need BLS. Even if you're a secretary working in a hospital and you don't have a healthcare background, because you're in a healthcare environment, you're generally going to be expected to have BLS. Now, if you're not in a healthcare field, but your employer requires you to have CPR training, like a daycare center, construction, manufacturing, then that's going to require you to get basic CPR. And sometimes that can go by different titles or brands. The American Heart Association calls it Heart Saver CPR. It's just a little bit more of a simplified, watered down course. A lot of times it doesn't include a written test, and they've taken a lot of the steps out of the process to simplify it down. Obviously, what your resources you have available in a hospital setting and the people that you're going to be working with when doing CPR is going to be much more complicated, more robust, as opposed to like if you're out on the side of the street and somebody collapses. And so they really shave it down and make the concepts easier to grasp and more applicable to what you as a non-healthcare person in a non-healthcare environment would be facing. And lastly, there are the people who just want to learn CPR, new parents, churches, and maybe a corporate office who just value knowing how to do CPR. And so there are courses for those people as well, generally known as hands-only CPR. So they teach all the same concepts of like how to recognize cardiac arrest, but when it comes time to do CPR, you do non-stop hands-only compressions and you don't give breaths. And so if you've heard of hands-only CPR, that's primarily who it's for, non-regulated people. If you're regulated, if you are in employed by somebody who requires you to have CPR training, or you're in the medical field, you still have to give breaths. That's a requirement, and if somebody tells you otherwise, they're wrong. But those are the three types of CPR certification classes and how they're derived. I hope this was helpful and it kind of explains things. If you have questions though, we'd love to follow up with you. You can go ahead and drop them in the comments below. Again, this is going to be Andrew with Class Eagle. Thanks for watching.